Dr. Santos, you referenced 10 things in your lecture that contribute to overall happiness. For those of us who are engaged in youth ministry, can you highlight a couple of them here that strike you as being especially relevant for young people, or some interventions that might lead to happiness for young people in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are lots of them, but I'll highlight a couple that I think are particularly important. And the first of these is social connection. Every available study of happy people suggests that happy people are more social. They make time for their friends and family members. They make time to just be around other people. Social connection is talked about as a necessary and sufficient feature of happiness, right? And so that means that as youth ministers, I think we need to think about the kinds of social connection that the youth we're working with are getting. And we mean social connection kind of at least in real time, hopefully in real life. But, these days, I think during COVID, at least in real time, just kind of like, watching videos on TikTok or clicking likes on Instagram or something like that. That's not the social connection we mean. We mean, deep in real time social connection with the people you care about. And sometimes that social connection has a bit of a startup cost. So I think it's really important for those who work with youth to kind of remind individuals how important that is, to kind of show like a positive example of how you would do that. Maybe when you're around your youth, don't be checking your phone, like really trying to be engaging and sort of like, talking to them and so on. And so social connection is a really big one. A second one, which I think resonates really well with, people who focus on youth in this context, is the importance of becoming a little bit more other oriented, right? We have this very selfish culture. We like to think about treating ourselves and sort of self-care and self. But the data suggests that happy people don't focus on themselves that much. Happy people are really other oriented. They spend their time working towards, helping other people. They spend their time volunteering. They donate money to charity, right? They just tend to be more focused on others. And I think this is, again, something that youth ministers can really model quite well, right? Trying to get the youth you're working with to get out of the, self head of like what they need for themselves or their grades or their performance or their accolades, right? And get them to think more about how they can use their talents to help other people. The data really suggests that doing for others is the path to happiness. And I think that's a spot where folks who work with youth can really kind of point people on the right path and kind of got to go against this culture of like, treat yourself, me, can kind of move that out a bit. A third tip, which I think is really critical, especially right now, is that the data suggests that if we want to be happier, we should try to experience lots of gratitude. Gratitude is not something that comes easily during a challenging time. And I think it's not something that comes easily for like youth right now. Honestly, sort of complaining and griping is cool. My students right now make all these memes, like a sort of jokey memes, and the jokes aren't like wholesome, happy memes. They're often like complaining about, the dining hall or complaining about, the wait, to get to classes or whatever, right?
Mm.
I think this is a domain where folks who work with youth can really help, right? How can you shift the people's attention that you're working with to things that are the blessings in their life, the joys, right? The things they're grateful for. Even if in a meeting you just have folks list a few things that they're grateful for, or, start your meals, not even necessarily with a grace, but really a gratitude period. What are you thankful for today? Those kinds of practices can get people to train their attention towards the good stuff rather than the gripey stuff. And that can be really critical. A fourth thing that I'll mention is just, I think, again, super important, especially for young people, which is that we know that healthy habits matter a lot for happiness. And by healthy habits, I mean the things we know are good for our physical health, things like exercise and sleep, but we forget are really important for our mental health. A half hour of cardio can be as effective at reducing symptoms of depression as some leading antidepressant medications, right? Just moving your body can be so powerful. But I think an even bigger physical factor for young people right now is sleep. The evidence suggests that if you're getting deprived sleep, you might have mood symptoms that look like you have clinical depression. In fact, a switch from just like 8 hours on average to about 5 hours on average can get you to that like not so great mental health functioning. And when you think about how much sleep our youth are getting right now, like we really need to make an intervention there. And so I think modeling that yourself, calling it out that it's not cool to be spending all your time staying up doing homework or staying up doing whatever, that you need to prioritize sleep can be quite powerful, especially if you share some of those consequences. One of the things I'm constantly telling my college students is, they think if they stay up and study and then, get that extra study time in, that they'll do better on their exams. And then I show them the data showing that, students who sleep less are actually getting worse grades. Students who have the most inconsistent sleep. So if you're, up at 10 p.m. one night, are you up at 10 p.m. another night? That's sort of sleep consistency. Students with the least sleep consistency do students with the least sleep consistency do the worst in terms of their GPA, right? And so the idea is like just having a consistent amount of sleep, going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time can be really powerful. So I think those are the four tips I would give, from the big literature. I think if we focus on those, we'll be able to make a huge difference in the happiness of our young people.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.